We are back on the pig trail with my man Otis Kirk. Otis, you doing all right, man?
Yeah, I am.
Under the circumstances, covering this football program right now, it is very difficult, yes?
It is, and it's, people want positive stuff, but they forget that us as reporters, we'd love to write something positive.
Better for us, right?
Well, yeah. Exactly, and it's always better for us, but right now there's not a lot of positives, and you don't have to be a sports writer or an expert, or not saying I'm an expert or anybody's an expert, but I'm just saying you don't have to be an expert to figure out there's not a lot of positives right now, and players, the coaches know that. They're trying, everybody's trying. It's not like I don't think they're going out here and throwing the games on purpose.
Right.
I know they're not. I mean, but it happens, but it's just unfortunate.
Okay, one topic we got to get to. It's a hot topic because people are talking about it a lot right now. How do you keep these current commits happy? Let them know things are all right. It's going to be okay when you get here. Obviously, things clearly not all right now if you're in the Arkansas Razorback football room. Losing and how it impacts recruiting, and based on the fact that in this 2019 class, Otis, you have 19 commits right now.
Yeah, well, you've just got to sell the future. You've got a dream. You've got not a dream, but you've got a plan. Plan for the future here. If you're Chad Morris, and that's what you've sold so far, you got to keep selling it, and you just hope that they're buying it. There's a theory out here that you can tell these kids that they want to play, they can play immediately at Arkansas. But one thing, and there's the pluses, but there's also the thought that, from me on this, that these kids, I talked to them for years, and most of them were dominant when they were in youth league football. They've been dominant in junior high.
They're used to it.
They're dominant in high school. They think they're going to come in and dominate in college, and they think they can go anywhere and do it. Now, it doesn't mean they can, but I'm just telling you the thought process of some of these kids and the higher-ranked kids. And so, but if you're Chad Morris, you've just got to keep selling that. But I do think that is one thing. Some kids want to go to a winning program regardless. Some kids really want to go where they can play immediately. They don't want to go and sit out. So that's what you've got to sell, and hope that that the 19 you have are buying it, and hope that you can get some more to buy it as well, because they're not finished in this class. There's a lot more needs, and in fact, they're not going to fill all their needs in this class, Drew. I mean, there's just no way. You're limited on scholarships, but they can. But believe it or not, this is the only way you're going to get out of this hole. They're in a 7-year cycle since 2011. The best year was 8-5 in 2015.
Right.
Even then, they lost to Toledo and Texas Tech. The only way to get out of this is just recruit your way out of it. Now, I will say this. Now, I know some people may not want to hear this today. I know they're mad at the coaches and mad at everybody, but this is the best recruiting staff as far as working hard at it that's been at Arkansas. Now, how will it turn out? I don't know, because this is really just their first true test. They had our class. They had one last year, but it was late, and stuff. But they do work hard at recruiting. They work very hard.
Second topic, Torian Carter, Enoch Jackson, Brady Latham. Latham, the most recent to commit. All those guys here in-house yesterday, just kind of your takeaways from that and what they saw.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did, those three I know stayed till the end because they came down on the field afterward. I think they're going to get Carter just by some things that kind of overheard in the conversations there. The kids were those three were together, and I think they're going to get Carter. That would be another defensive lineman, and that would probably be the last one in this class, assuming no one decommits, and it might even be anyway. I mean, they've got that will, they've got a bunch of defensive linemen. So, but I think they're in good shape on those three kids. I mean, the fact they stayed till the end, they were here, they were down on the sidelines. But I mean, I'm sure they're scratching their head with what they saw too. I don't think anybody went into that, maybe other than North Texas fans, I don't think anyone went into that stadium yesterday thinking you would walk out with Arkansas losing 44-17. Now, the fact Arkansas lost, that didn't totally shock me, but the way that the manner in which they lost was a surprise, and it affects them. But like I said, I heard some things from Torian Carter, overheard some stuff yesterday. I think they're in decent shape for him.
Yeah. It was the loss and the way it happened that certainly really stands out. All right, the biggest needs still left in the 2019 class. Of course, 22 is the number that Chad Morris kind of threw out there prior to the season, but how do you see that changing, Otis?
I think they're going to use every available scholarship in that, because some people said, well, they can't run players off. Well, I think there's going to be some players leave on their own. I mean, there's some people that don't fit the system that Chad's running on offense or defense. And I just think you have normal attrition in any program, but I think they're going to figure out a way to sign a full class. And I think the needs right now, you've got to take care of quarterback next year. You've got to take care of quarterback. And I know you've got KJ Jefferson coming in, but I don't know, depending on how the season plays out the rest of the year, I don't know if you want to go into next year without a grad transfer or a JUCO quarterback or someone older quarterback to compete in that. Now, if one of the older quarterbacks here now took control and had a great season the rest of the year, then that would change that. But you don't want to go into next season depending on freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores and stuff. If you end up, that's who plays for you, that's fine. But you want to go in there with an option of someone older, more experienced, who can give you that option. And because you need some options at quarterback. Offensive line, they've got to get the numbers up.
Yeah, I mean, experience, that's the big word there. And that was a great point about the grad transfer thing. If you can get somebody you could bring in and solidify at least more of that experience and that older nature of somebody who is under center, and doing things with this RPO system that they want to eventually implement. It's really hard for them to actually implement that at this point, but it also kind of speaks to, last year they brought in David Williams, a running back, and he did some big things for them. But at the same point in time, quarterback, much different scenario, determines so much more on the football field when it's all said and done. Connor Nolan, John Stephen Jones, you want to talk about those guys? Because obviously those guys got in some tough spots yesterday, deep in Arkansas territory. So let's kind of get to that. And the fact that, you cover those guys on the recruiting beat. Yeah,
it was a tough situation for either of those kids to come into, but I know they were anxious. And we'll say this, John Stephen had a very long run that was called back because of a penalty.
Yeah.
Connor had a good run that was called back. Both those kids are mobile. Now, they can run. They offered Arkansas a mobile threat that Cole didn't offer. But, the trouble with those kids coming into the game, well, first it was the situation. I mean, no quarterback was going to come into that situation to look good. But I felt like Connor is a kid that ran that offense in high school, and can come in and offer a little bit of things as far as run, pass, both. But they lowered their ears, they pinned their ears and came after him. And if he's in there, or whoever the quarterback is, especially when they're going to blitz like that, the receivers have got to get some separation and give him a quick target, because it's going to be harder next week. He had some spin moves to get away from some of the North Texas guys. But you got Auburn, Texas A&M, and Alabama coming up, and that's not even counting Ole Miss. So I don't know. You don't want to spin away from one and spin into one of those mean Auburn guys who are going to be mad because they lost anyway. But no, I mean there's some growing pains. I do think if their belief is one of the freshmen gives them the best chance to win, then he needs to start taking snaps on tonight. And be out there tonight, be out there Tuesday, be out there Wednesday, getting as many reps as he can get. I will say this, I remember, and I'll be quick with this, but I remember one time Arkansas lost to the Citadel, 10-3. Jack Crow's last game here, he was down at Mermaids the other day, but Arkansas bit the bullet later in the year and went with Barry Lundy Jr. at quarterback, went to Knoxville and beat a highly ranked, very good Tennessee team down there with a freshman quarterback making his first start. So it's not like it's impossible to do that. And that, like I said, Arkansas lost to Citadel that year, and yet Barry Lundy goes up, and people say, well, it was Tennessee. No, Tennessee was very good then, very good. I think they were ranked in the top 2 or 3 teams in the country at that time, so they were ranked very high.
You mentioned Connor Nolan. Yeah, he was fleet of foot there on that 3rd and 6. He was kind of like Houdini. He just kind of spun out of there, but again, against Auburn or Alabama, it may be a little difficult, a little bit more difficult to do that against a defensive front, the likes of Alabama or Auburn, just for example. All right, let's close with this. Ty Story, quick take on this. Where is he right now? I mean, the guy obviously did some good things, 261 yards passing 2 weeks ago against Eastern Illinois.
Well, I'm a results guy. I wrote my story last night. What the 4 quarters that he has played, the score, Arkansas has dominated in 4 quarters he's played by the score. Now, I know he played poorly at Colorado State, but he left there 13-9 leading in 48 plays in the first half. The running game worked when he was in there, and I look at the 4 quarters he has played as opposed to the 8 quarters he hasn't played, and there's no comparison. And like I said, I'm a results guy, so I would like to have seen Ty started that game yesterday, see what he could do. And look, people will point out his 2 interceptions at
Colorado State.
yeah, I mean, but Fort Collins up there, but there's no perfect quarterback over there for this system, Drew. Ty's not perfect, and I'm not saying that. No one is.
Plain and simple, yeah.
But I think, like I said, I'm a results guy. I look at what he's done and then what they've done without him on the field. And people will point out, well, the receivers did this, or running backs did this, or the line did this. Hey, the other guys are playing with the same running back, same receiver, same offensive line he is. So I'm not buying that either. So, it's unfortunate, but it's just, but the coach is the one that gets paid to make those decisions. Yeah. It's up to Chad Morris. He played what I'm sure, felt like gave him the best chance to win yesterday. Didn't work out. Who knows if it would have worked out had he started Ty Story.
And based on what he said last night, that is that he thought Cole Kelly outperformed Ty Story in practice last week. There's still some things that I feel like we don't know about Ty Story that occurred last week, leading up to the fact he did not play a snap yesterday against North Texas. Otis, as always, great work. Appreciate it. You'll see him as far as his writing on Hogville. Back with more after this.